Hello, hello. My name is David. I do developer relations at Particle Network. So today we go over what work we're doing on chain abstraction and especially on Avalanche. So we go over we'll mostly go over the various challenges that we're seeing with. This is better. The challenges that we're seeing with the multi-chain landscape. Obviously, Avalanche with the whole L1 ecosystem has a lot of fragmentation, so our solutions that we're working on can help with this. So the challenges of the multi-chain landscape. The big issue and challenge that we see are a fragmented user experience. We have many apps or many different chains that leverage different infrastructures, different ecosystem. When you need to interact with applications, you need their own token, their own RPCs, their own wallets. You need to bridge. You cannot just use an app like you want. So we are tackling the essential fragmented UX with our Web3 solutions like universal accounts, where you will have only one account aggregating basically all the data and all the assets that you have into one unique balance that then you can use on essentially any chain that we support without having to move any of the assets around. So you will really have truly one only place to have those things on. So that's how we fix it. We have been pushing a lot on the chain abstraction idea. So our definition of chain abstraction is a user experience exempt from the manual processes required to interact with multiple chains. Very wordy definition to say, I have just one account, just like in a centralized exchange, and all my assets are there, and I can use them as one. So that is the main idea, really. This, on our side, is mostly powered by universal accounts, which is the basically infrastructure that we built from the ground up around this. So universal accounts is what power our vision of chain abstraction. The main features will be essentially universal liquidity and universal gas. For universal liquidity, we really mean just that we have, or rather you have access to all the assets that you own on all the different chains without having to bridge, swap, or moving things around. So essentially, let's say you have assets on Solana or other EVM, even other EVM chains, and you want to interact with the Avalanche C chain or any of the Avalanche L1, you will be able to do it without having to move assets around. Your assets are going to be available immediately. The bonus is that we have what we call universal gas, which essentially allows you to pay for any of those fees in any of the assets that you have. So it can be USDC, ETH, AVAX, or any other assets without having to really think about it. That is really the big thing that we're having to push here. So this is pretty much how the current user experience is before having universal accounts. Obviously, we already have smart accounts, which include account abstraction to have extra features, gas abstraction. But as you can see from our visions here, every chain has its own ecosystem, so you will have 4, 5, 6 different balances across different chains. Applications need to deploy on these chains to make differences. So with the universal account, we really just aim to give you one balance. So you have one account, one balance, and you can interact basically with any chain. The only thing is that we need to support the chain. It's usually a very quick integration, and we're actually working on making these essentially decentralized, where the network or the chain will be able to essentially deploy in our infrastructure permissionless. So that will even expand everything more. So let's talk about the current state of the Avalanche ecosystem and why these solutions that we're working on will be beneficial. So the L1 landscape in Avalanche is very fragmented. There are over 200 L1s, a total of 165 blockchains. So the landscape is very fragmented. And let's say you want to interact with any of with an application that is on any of those of those chains that I have listed here, you will need to maintain one balance on each of those chains you will need to configure your wallet to work with any of those chains, having to configure RPCs and remember where you store assets. You have to move them around if you want to interact with chains that you don't have. Um, so those will be the really main beneficial benefits for the Avalanche ecosystem, where each of these chains displayed here could be a different Avalanche L1, but you will still only see one balance. And so you will still be able to interact across all of these applications and across all those chains without really having to move liquidity around. So this is really how we envision it, where a user is simply logs in with a basic wallet or a social login and can interact directly with any application on any chain. So how are we supporting this? The universal accounts, which power our vision of chain abstraction, will be available via an SDK. So here is how the typical flow will look like. The SDK will be at the account level. So we will have the usual onboarding methods for a user. It can be social logins or any of the already available wallets. These will create basically a wallet connection via the EIP 1193 standard, which in turn gives a signer to the universal accounts. Universal accounts are really just a smart account, and so they have a signer underlying that for the transactions. So once you create that connection between EIP 1193 and the smart account, then you can use any of the already available providers like ETHDenver or VM to include any transaction in your dApp. So here, okay. So we actually, oops, let me see here. So we actually already built a relatively mainstream trading application on our own infrastructure. It's Universal X, and here's a quick demo of it. As you can see, there is a balance of $19, and this balance is aggregated across many chains. There is some SOL, there is some ETH across various different L1s, and basically we are using the entire balance to purchase a coin on Solana using basically 4 different chains. And this is really the user experience that we are trying to design. Universal X is our implementation of it. So we are trying to basically bring a proof of concept and showcase how application can use our underlying infrastructure. And the Universal Account SDK will be available in about a month. So you can actually sign up here for the early access. And we'll get in contact with you as soon as you have it. So the idea here is that any application that has basically a front end where a user interacts on chain will be beneficial. So essentially integrate the universal accounts at the account level of the application. Thank you.